to be alive and good to be live, right? It is Friday. If you are watching this in real time, it's a fun day, at least over here in the Robustelli household, because it's actually hubby's birthday today, which is fun. So we're going to do a little celebrating later today. Let me just say good morning, Christine, Michelle, Heather. Good morning, ladies. So good to see you today. Good morning. Yes, I love it. I love it. We are talking today about what I think is one of the most useful universal laws you can use to achieve the results that you're looking for in your sales, your business, and your life, which is the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect. So, who's familiar with this law? Who studied it? Give me a heart or let me know. Good morning, Heather. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, we are going to have, he's studying for the MCAT. He's got the MCAT next week. So, it's kind of like a mini birthday celebration today. We're going to celebrate more after it's done next week. But thank you so much. I'll tell him you say happy birthday for sure. Laura, good morning. So good to see you. And as always, if you're joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pop me a comment. That's how I know you're here. But who's familiar with the law of cause and effect? Who has studied this? Who's familiar? Is this new? When I started learning and studying about these, it's like universal laws explain how to get everything that you desire in your life, because literally all you have to do is know the law and know how things work and work with it. And they're super helpful whether you're feeling good and there's a result that you're looking to create at a next level in your life, or maybe things aren't going as well and you feel like there's a challenge. But they help you kind of understand what's going on so you don't go into like panic or freak out about it, and you can course correct and adjust. So good morning, Kalua. Oh, so good to see you, sister. Michelle, you studied it a little bit. Okay, awesome. So let's get into it. And I'm just going to read to you the definition first. I've got it pulled up on Google over here. So the law of cause and effect is a universal law which states that every single action in the universe produces a reaction. So, and then every single item within the universe is relative and nothing is separate. So basically, you can think about it. The way that I like to think about it is you are the cause of everything in your life. Like, this is the way that we can think about it. And I know if there are things that are going on that feel good, that can be like, yes, I did that. And if there are things that are going on that don't feel so good, it's like, oh, really? I'm the cause. In some way, shape, or form, you were either available for it or you were somehow a match for something, even if it doesn't feel good. But we have to remember always, 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 everything is always working out for you. So there's nothing that's punitive that's happening here if there's stuff that's going on that you're not loving the results of. But to me, this is a very empowering thing to know. And how many of you actually feel empowered by this, by realizing that if there's an effect, or we can also just say like a result that's happening in your sales, your business, or your life, and you're less than thrilled about it, guess what? You can shift it. You can change it. And we're going to talk today about how to do that. So let me just check and stop. Okay, comments good. So here's how I would use this one is I would look at when you are, let's say you're wanting to go to your next level. Good morning, Laura. So good to see you. Let's say you're wanting to go to your next level in sales, right? Which I know so many of you are. That's why we come together in the mornings, right? So that revenue or that income number, that would be the effect. That would be the result. And sometimes, especially if the number feels big to us, right, we can look at it and we can feel disempowered, or we can feel like, well, I don't know if I can really do it, right? But what I want you to do is start beginning with the end in mind and then working backwards to say, well, what would be the cause of that result? And you've got to look at yourself and look at really three key things that are all tied to who you're being, because who you're being is always creating the effect or the result in your life. So you got to look at number one. Well, it's all really about, are you in alignment with that result? So let's just say let's say that you wanted to earn $100,000 this year. Okay. Just to keep it really simple. So that's the result. Now, the cause to work backwards is, who is the person who earns $100,000? And you have to look at how much are you in alignment with that end result. And you look at a couple things. Number one, how are my thoughts? So, am I thinking thoughts that are in alignment with, if that amount feels like prosperity and abundance to you? Like, am I thinking thoughts of prosperity and abundance? Am I thinking thoughts of service and leveraging the law of compensation to look at how can I provide, how can I provide that much service in the world? Are any of my thoughts contradicting that end result? Because if I want this thing, but I'm thinking thoughts about scarcity, lack, not enoughness, then you're not a match for it. So it's going to take longer for it to happen for you until you do match up with it. The second part you want to look at is, how are you feeling? Okay, how are you feeling? So your thoughts, again, electromagnetic world. So your thoughts are kind of like the charge, the electric charge that signals the event to happen in the world. And then your feelings are what draws it back to you. So with your feelings, you want to look at, what do you desire that $100,000 because how do you think it's going to make you feel? And just for any of you, regardless of what your revenue target is, pop in the comments, how do you think it's going to make you feel? Feelings like free, expansive, grateful, right? Open, peaceful, joyful. So how is your feeling state throughout the day? Because that's your conscious, your feelings are your body's conscious awareness of what you're a vibrational match for. So if you want the result of $100,000 because you think it's going to make you feel expansive, abundant, free, but you're feeling scarcity, lack, restriction, resentment, you're not a match for it, right? You're not being the person. You've got to be the person first. So you're not being the person who already has that. So again, we go back to, Kalu was saying, full of choices. Yeah. And it's like feeling that feeling in your body of, what does it feel like to be able to just do what I want and have what I want and create the experience. Like that to me is abundance, right? Abundance is definitely financial, but it's also really about that feeling of possibility, right? Like you do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, as many times as you. I always feel like that sounds sexual when you say it. But like, that's not the intention. It's really about like having choices, right? Having choices in your life. So to your point, full of choices. So, and I totally got off track with what I was going to say there, but the feeling part is super, super, super important. Michelle's laughing. I know. I first heard Joe Dispenza say it that way. I was like, gosh, that sounds super sexual, but it's not. It's actually, it doesn't have to be. Wait, warrior woman. Oh, I love your handle. Good morning. Good morning. So are your thoughts in alignment, and are your feelings in alignment with being the type of person who has that? And I was actually working with a private client earlier this week, and she's got a revenue goal. She's got a certain revenue goal she's going for every month. And we talked about, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is she showing up already as that woman who has that? And she was like, probably a 9 out of 10 most days. And I was like, that's good, but it's not enough. Like, you got to really focus on being a 10, showing up as a 10 out of 10. And she practiced that. And immediately right after that brought in 2 clients. And like, it was a significant revenue boost for her from where she'd been, because she was just practicing showing up as that 10 out of 10 match. And it's not that we don't like, you don't have to be perfect. So I want to just like reassure everyone, you don't have to be perfect with this. Like if you find yourself in a lower vibrational state that's not a match for the result you want to bring in, it's not that you can't still bring it in. You're just making it take a little bit longer. Okay. That's all. So we have to learn to give ourselves permission to feel everything and to have that full range of human emotions and to be real, and still know that you can still bring in everything you want. But if you want to bring it in fast and create that effect or that result in your life, the way you do it is by being a match. So it's going to feel like acting for a while, right? It's going to feel like acting, and you've got to constantly check in and filter your thoughts and your feelings through the lens of, are these in alignment with where I'm going? Like, are these because when you're thinking thoughts that aren't in alignment, you're literally blocking it, right? When you're feeling feelings that aren't in alignment, you're blocking it. Now, the third piece of who you're being is the actions that you're taking. Now, as always, this is not about busy, forcing, pushing action. This is about that aligned action. And you've got to learn to look at it from a different perspective. And this is part of the value. This is why I have coaches. This is part of the value of having a coach, because a lot of times we get so stuck in our old way of doing things, which has created that same result. But there could be a far more powerful way to act that you're probably not thinking of that would bring in that result faster for you. But a lot of times we just don't even think about it, right? Because we've got our old conditioning. And so with the action that you take, I would look and say, okay, so because again, start with the end in mind. My hands are like going nuts today. Start with the end in mind. Because I brought in $100,000 this year, how did I do it? And work backwards. What were the actions I took? If you're an entrepreneur, did I increase my rates? If you're in sales for somebody else, like what were the activities I did? But again, it's not that busy, forcing, pushing action. It's the aligned action. And it will feel, when you're really going for the up level, the action will feel stretchy. It'll feel uncomfortable, but again, not in a pushing mode, in more of a, ooh, this is stretching the boundaries of how I usually show up, right? Maybe you launch a new challenge. Maybe you create a new program. Maybe you do some outreach to the type of clients that in the past you would have thought, oh, they're like, they wouldn't want to work with me, right? Whatever your limiting beliefs were about that. And you take that action unattached to the outcome, but knowing that as you continue to do that and take that aligned higher level action, you will get to where you want to go. It will either be that or something better. It has to be. But so that's the law of cause and effect. And it's about empowerment. It's about ownership. And it's about knowing that for whatever, you can create any result you want in your life, any effect you want in your life, but you've got to look back and say, well, what's the cause? How do I need to show up so that this is a natural end byproduct? So this result is a natural end byproduct of who I'm being. Does that make sense? And do we have questions on that? Jason, good morning. Good to see you. And I want to give, while you all are, as you're popping in anything that's a question or that's showing up, I just want to give you a word of encouragement. If there are effects in your life right now that you don't love the result of, I get it. That can feel hard, right? That can feel challenging. What I want to encourage you with is, remember time lag. Like, things play out in linear time here. So whatever effects, whatever results are happening in your life right now, whether from a sales standpoint, a financial standpoint, a relationship standpoint, it's the result of who you were being in the past, thinking, feeling, and actions, right? Like we talked about. Allison, good morning. So what we have to realize is who you are being today is creating what's going to happen for you tonight, tomorrow, next week, the next month, etc. So we have to learn to look outside of us less and look at the conditions less, especially if we're not thrilled with them, and look inside more and say, it is what it is. Like, that's playing out in linear time. That's fine. But give it as little energy and attention as possible and go back to, how do I want to, for the result that I want to create, knowing that today I'm creating my results for tomorrow, how do I need to show up today? And go inside more. So I hope that makes sense. Kalua, do you suggest visualization? Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who aren't on Instagram, do you suggest visualization to become the person you want to be? 100%. Yeah, 100%. And are you actively visualizing right now? Like, I'd be curious to know what your practice is. Oh, Colleen, good morning. Good to see you. But yeah, totally. Because you've got to see it. So the point of visualization is another universal law, the law of perpetual transmutation. So everything is moving into and out of form all the time in our world. So your physical results in your world, they all started with what you're seeing in your mind, which is, how do you see yourself to be? What are you thinking about consistently? And that can be, again, visualization when used positively is like imagining that end result that you want to create in your sales, business, and life. and starting to live that out in your mind first. Like Michelle's saying, yes, 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 sowing seeds, exactly. But worry is also visualization. So you're a super powerful creator. And whatever it is that you consistently think about and then you emotionalize, it will move into form in your life. You're sowing seeds. So we want to learn to get, and it's important to be specific too, to be crystal clear and as specific as possible with what you're visualizing. And then it's literally, there's a scientific and there's a spiritual element to this. But the scientific part is that when you create that very clear picture, your subconscious mind is just like the soil. Okay, it's just like the soil. Whatever it is that you plant in it must come to be. It must come up. Maria Elise, good morning. So good to see you. And so it must happen. And part of that is the reticular activating system in your brain. That's the filter to where it's going to filter out anything that doesn't align with your belief systems. So when we consistently visualize the result that we want, what you're doing is you're planting seeds in your subconscious mind of what you want. And that eventually, as you think about that again and again and again, you actually form the belief that it's your reality, because a thought is just, or excuse me, a belief is just something you think about again and again. And then the job of the reticular activating system, or the filter, like the bouncer in your brain, is to filter out anything that doesn't align with that version of your reality, that seed that you've just planted. And so let's say that you're currently doing 6 figures a year and you want to go to 7 figures, right? And so you start visualizing in your mind, what is that like? And you're not visualizing the how, because the how will come to you once it becomes a belief system that you can have it. But you're visualizing, what is the end result like? How much you're thinking about working with your clients. You're thinking about travel. You're thinking about buying the home. You're thinking about the impact. You're thinking about starting your foundation, and you're living that in your mind first. And you're doing it again and again and again and again and again every single day, multiple times throughout the day. And it will become, you'll know that that has become a new belief system for you. Because if the reason why it hasn't happened yet in your life is you haven't believed, some part of you hasn't believed it's possible or real for you. Otherwise, you would have already done it. So you'll know that your subconscious has accepted it as true when you can think about it and you don't feel lack, fear, concern, resentment that that's not your reality. You think about it and it's like, it feels natural. It feels as natural to you as it would be to say, my name is Kalua, right? Assuming that's for Kalua on this live stream. So it feels, that's how natural it feels to you. And then you want to pay attention, because then the reticular activating system in your brain is going to start to actually, before it was filtering out ideas, opportunities, situations that would have actually brought that result to you already. But now it's going to start looking for, and it's going to be on the alert, because your physical world will always mirror your subconscious beliefs about yourself, of what you believe to be true about yourself. So now it's going to start, thank you for the hearts. Now it's going to start opening you up to, one, you'll just have ideas. You'll have like downloads like, oh, I should do this, I should do that. Or you'll pay attention to something you weren't paying attention to before. Like somebody can come to you with the idea that's going to get you exactly where you want to be. But if your belief system is that thing is not possible for you, you won't pay it any attention, or you'll just dismiss it or whatever. So we've got a very good question, Chloe, on the visualization, because you want to visualize who it is that you desire to be every single day, and practice that in your mind first, and then it will become your reality. But we've got to be consistent with it and persistent with it, knowing that it must happen for you. It must move into form. But the only reason it doesn't is because we don't believe it will. And we get frustrated because it doesn't happen fast enough. And then we throw in the towel and we give up. And of course, you're going to stay where you are with that, right? So this is how it works. So just remember, today, in this moment, you're creating, you right now are being the cause of what your next effect is going to be, right? Like who you are being right now is creating another result. And so if you keep being the same person, you're going to keep getting the same results. So I would invite you to really look at, who are you being? What are the thoughts you're thinking? What are the feelings you're feeling? And what are the actions that you're taking? And for the result that you desire to create, how would that need to shift? And start being it first. And the fun thing with all of this is you'll start to have so much fun just being this person, and the results will naturally follow. But you'll have such a good time. You'll feel good, you'll have new ideas, you'll love the clarity you're experiencing, that it's just a fun process. It's a fun process for you. So that's how we want to use this one. Okay, do we have any other questions? Are we good? Are we complete? I want to also just remind everybody, for those of you who are in She Sells All Access, which is my monthly membership, today in about 2 hours, we've got a live training with my director of operations, Angela Greaser. It's going to be so, so, so powerful. So if you're wanting, she's systems, social media, marketing maven. And so you're going to get access to her, to get coaching from her on how to put the right systems, operations, et cetera, in place in your business and in your sales to help you scale. And she's so brilliant. She's literally worked with some of the top entrepreneurs in the world to help them do this. And if you're not a member, you can join. So elisearcher.com/training. You can go ahead and get registered now. So you get access to that training coming up at 11 today. And you get access to be coached by Angela as well. So, all right, my loves. Well, that is it. That's what I have for you today. I think I'm considering going to another book study starting next week. So I'll keep you all posted, but I'm kind of feeling I'm feeling a Think and Grow Rich book study for everybody. It's just that message has kept showing up. So I'm thinking we may get into that for September. So thank you so much for the hearts. It was so good to see everyone today. Have a beautiful, beautiful Friday and weekend, and I will see you bright and early on Monday. Bye for now.